Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the second half of episode 13 called Rat Tail. The first half is actually called Pie Hard. I called it Bake Off. I'm sorry about that. It's actually called Pie Hard. And the second half of what I'm reviewing now, no clip apparently, I'm sorry about that, is called Rat Tail. And yeah, I'm sorry about not posting this on Sunday along with the first half. I just got way too tired, but now I'm doing the second half today. I'm hoping to do episode 14 also today, but there could be a possibility I won't, so that'll be for Tuesday mostly. Um Basically, if I can manage to review both halves, what are the episode halves called? All right. The first half is called Frilly Tilly, and the second half of episode 14 is called Montaged. So if I can review both of them today, then yeah, I'll do episode 14 today. But right now I'm doing Rat Tail. That's the main priority what I'm gonna do. And also, before I forget, so I just want to apologize. I didn't do the second half along with the first half just yesterday, but I'm doing today. But I also wanted to say thank you so much to my 178th subscriber. I really appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming by the channel and checking it out. I really appreciate it. So without any further ado, let's get on with the review of the episode of Rat Tail. Okay, and I always like the titles that they do. It's really cool. And I like how the way they did this is like you see Rat Tail as the eggs, and I like how the effects of the eggs are like it looks like it's in an actual frying pan. It looks like it's being cooked, and you're seeing it and you see Tilly's cooking, and I just love how Bill's like, "Oh, Tilly, it's so cool that you're cooking eggs for all of us," and then Tilly's like, "For everyone." Tilly would just mind her own business, making her own breakfast. Like, this is for me. I'm not trying to say that Tilly's being really selfish. It's just that she didn't know that she was supposed to make eggs for everyone. Anyway, so yeah, she's making scrambled eggs for herself. And basically Nancy's already in the room. I think she was like reading the paper or something, and then Cricket came in, and he's wearing a hat that says "to Ane," and I didn't like how he just stands on the table with his dirty bare feet. And I what I did like is when he actually went on the table, he went on it hard enough where like the plates went up a little bit and back, and you even saw the plates kind of wobble a little bit, so you can see that the effect Cricket just didn't go onto the table like nothing happened. You actually could like feel the effects of it, of like what would it look like when a child like jump on the table like pretty hard. Like the plates and stuff would move if it was hard enough, and it wasn't not that like sturdy of a table that would happen. So I like that. But Cricket, get off the table. And Bill's like, "Oh, son, we talked about the T word, the toot, and toot's not like a big deal. Not like the swearing words from that what was it called, bleeped, that episode. I didn't like that episode too much, but so toot's fine. But Bill's like, "Oh, you can't use that word," and then Nancy's like, "Bill, it's not one of those bad words that we discussed about. It's fine. And plus, kids Cricket's age need to express himself." Yeah, because Cricket's 11. I'm not sure how far away he is from turning 12 years old, like Tilly's age. Like Tilly's like 12 and a half. And Cricket is 11, I believe, like 11 and a half. They're not really specific of Cricket's age. In the beginning of the show, he's 10, but obviously they went through New Year's twice. So I'm like, is he 12 now? I don't know. It, I wish they did birthdays more often. They only did Remy's birthday. And Remy is currently 10 because his birthday showed 10 candles. So he's currently 10. He was 9 in season 1. So, I don't know. But kids Cricket stage need to express themselves. They need, "Oh, thanks, mom. You always know where I'm coming from." And they're both like doing like the same finger pointing. They get each other. And that's what I like about Nancy. She's maturing more, which I really like. I love her arc, but she's still that fun loving mom type. Like she didn't like lose that like while getting responsible. Like, you can do both. And Nancy's that, like, I don't want to say representation because that's word is being like thrown around, but she's a good character to show that dynamic, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, so but the hat wasn't one. The hat it's not something I wanted to show. So okay, what do you want? And this is the title. Rat tail comes in. Cricket has the rat tail because he takes off his hat and he has a little rat tail. And I didn't like this because Cricket's like, I've been secretly growing this for months. I would have liked a little progression of his hair getting a little bit longer and Cricket kind of messing with it. And you see a couple episodes before him in the country kind of saying, oh, look, what's the back of Cricket's of the back of Cricket's head? And I would have mentioned it. That would be a pretty cool dynamic of an episode that would be like down the line when I'm going over the episode titles. I'm like, oh, rat tail. That's what that's what the episode's talking about. And that would have pretty cool speculation of like the rat tail. Would he keep it? How long is it gonna get? Will his hair even more get longer? I think that'd be pretty cool speculation. But I didn't like how I've been growing this for months. I like progression. Like, and it just feels like it's just here. Like, it's not a big deal, but I don't know. But anyway, so that's not. I like the look of the rat tail. But I just didn't like how it just popped out of nowhere. That would be pretty cool. The previous the first half of the episode, it would have showed his hair getting a little bit longer. Like, come on, but whatever. But he's like showing around because it's like the most awesome thing. But Nancy doesn't like it, and she's like thinks it's like the worst thing ever. But Tilly's like, oh wow, that's so cool, brother. And then Craig is like, oh, look at all the things Rat Tail can do. It's super convenient, and he uses it to the swipe the knock over the salt and pepper into Tilly's eggs, and she eats it, and she's like, oh, her scrambled eggs. She's like, it tastes so better. It tastes so much better. Thank you, Cricket. And even Bill's like, like I really like the texture you use for the rat tail. How you like binded it together. It's really neat. Well done, son. Oh, that's pretty cool that Bill kind of complimented Cricket. I love that. And then, oh, what do you think, Mom? Because Cricket think, oh, Mom's like the coolest person ever. Even though, like she's kind of toning it a bit down, but I don't mind that. But Mom's so super cool. Like, what's she gonna think? And Nancy's like, it's long. What? No. Sorry, no. She says, it's different. And he's like, oh, yep, it totally is. And then Nancy's like, Bill, would you mind coming over here for a second? I wasn't a big fan of how Nancy was just tugging Bill's shirt, but Nancy's like at a point where like during like the episode you could see her breaking down even more and more and more. So her just tugging on Bill's shirt a little bit, it isn't like as like ruthless or crazy as she is like during the latter half of this episode, which I won't go into spoilers until I actually get to that part. But so there's a little tug, and it wasn't that big of a deal, and Bill didn't really mind that too much. And if there was a crease in the shirt, I'm sure Bill can just iron it out. It's fine. Anyway, but besides that, and then Nancy's like, okay, Nancy, what do you want? And he's like, Bill, what are we going to do about the rat tail? He's like, what? And he's like, the rat tail, it's the most horrible thing ever. And he's like, what do you mean? And like, it's fine. And Nancy's kind of like, He's like, oh, like, even Bill saying, like, it's not, like, the greatest thing in the world, but it's fine. Weren't you just telling me the like, Cricket express stuff? Are you sure that you don't have the problem with the rat tail? And then Nancy, yes, fine. I admit it. It's the worst thing ever. And he's like, oh, but I can't tell him. And Nancy explains why. Because Cricket still thinks I'm the cool mom. I don't want to lose that. And she actually mentions that we get a little bit more backstory with her and her dad. I actually like that. Where we met him in a flashback in season 2, I believe. Yes, season 2. And this is where we actually meet Nancy for the first time also. We're not sure if the dad's still alive because Bill's mom, Alice, grandma, she's still alive. So I'm wondering, is Nancy's dad still alive? Did he pass away? Did they die? Was he murdered? Who knows? Then Nancy never mentioned him. But she doesn't need to. He's not main character or anything. And he's like, oh, my dad was always criticizing me and my clothes, and Nancy was showing like this oversized jeans. I particularly don't like them, but kids always like to try out new clothes to try to express themselves of who they want to be and stuff. So I understand Nancy was in that age of where when a kid tries out their first type of clothes, it's not like the best thing in the world. It's not always terrible. Sometimes it's terrible. It's horrible. But sometimes it's pretty okay. Nancy's jeans, it was okay. But he was just so he was such a critic. He's like too big, and he's like, it's oversized fashion, Dad. He's like, wah, wah. Like, you look like an idiot. I was like, wow, that's so mean. And then Nancy's like him criticizing me made me not like him. So along with that statement of him not liking Nancy's taste in fashion and clothes, I'm not saying he has to, but he was really criticizing it. And also with Nancy not liking his business ideals of scamming kids, she went along with it because like she said in that episode of season 2, I forgot the name of the episode, but where what did she say? I don't agree with my dad doing this, but we got a lot of bills to go away. Anyway, forget about that. Oh, okay. Where was I? She's like, I don't agree with my dad doing this and stuff, but we got a lot of bills to pay, and bills just keep piling out. Even Bill agreed, yeah. I'm not really sure about doing this either, but us too. Like, we've just got a lot of bills, and my mom's been working super hard on the farm, and she can push herself enough that I could push myself too. And so there was like an interesting dynamic there where like Nancy talking about her dad, and we got like a little another thing about her dad not liking her like taste in fashion and stuff. And so it's kind of like haunting her a little bit, not too much, but it's haunting her a bit. And he's like, oh, his harsh criticizing made me not like him. And I don't want Cricket to do the same thing for me. But I'm like, Nancy, you should know that Cricket's always going to like you. It kind of like, this is kind of like the same thing in, what was it, season 1? In the comments below, was the episode Axon Saxon, was that in season 1 or season 2? Where basically Nancy let Alice take the fall for Saxon's, getting crumpled in like the wash and stuff, until he believed that Grandma destroyed it with her sword because she didn't like Saxon all that much, and Nancy was worried that Tilly won't love me anymore, and Tilly made it like, I'm like, shocked and like I'm disappointed that you lied to me, but I won't stop loving you. So I'm Nancy, like, Cricket got to do the same thing for you, but again, Nancy's thinking that, oh, well, like, the kids are a bit older now, so they might have, like, a different feeling about me, and also, Cricket is different from Tilly. So I kind of understand, like, Nancy's thinking there, where, like, even though Tilly might forgive me, with Cricket. So, she's, it has a lot of thoughts about it, so I don't want to take that chance. So, and it's like, oh, Bill, why don't you tell Cricket that you changed your mind and you hate the rat tail? And then I like how Bill stands his ground, he's like, well, no, don't rope me into this. And I like how Nancy's giving like the puppy dog eyes, like, please do this for me. It's like, no, you have 2 options. Either option 1, you tell Cricket you don't like it and be honest. Or option 2, you just have to live with it. I don't like how Nancy was kind of stomping her feet around like she's, I know she was kind of acting like a child the entire episode, but having a little tantrum, I don't know. I just didn't like it too much. Even she was kind of like, I don't know. I didn't like it. And then Bill's like, bye. Like, you had 2 options. And then Nancy's like, maybe there's a 3rd option. She's doing a moi. That was pretty funny. And then Bill, I love how Bill went around the corner. He's like, no, there isn't. And then Nancy, oh, we'll see. And she goes off screen. And then, and so that's basically the A plot is, Nancy trying to find a 3rd option to get rid of Cricket's rat tail. So that's the A plot. So basically Nancy and Cricket. The B plot is Remy and Alice. So really glad. So I guess maybe you can say that Bill and Tilly are like a minor part of the A plot, but they're not main characters in it. Even though Bill had a good conversation with Nancy, and Tilly was there like for like a couple funny jokes and stuff in the A plot, it's really mainly about the mother-son dynamic between Cricket and Nancy, and like a little adopted grandma, adopted grandson, if you want to think about it, between Alice and Remy. And so that's pretty cool that they had that dynamic. So, and Remy's like, oh, like, morning, Mrs. Green. And then he's really polite. He's like, oh, what type of game you're playing? He's like, and she's like knitting. And, she's relaxing. And she's like, game? Like, Remy, this isn't a game. And He's like, this is the sacred art of knitting. And she even hands him some yarn and said, like, here you go. Like, you bother me knitting, so now you gotta knit too. And Remy just goes along with it. She's like, okay. And he just starts knitting. And I was like, oh, the sacred art of knitting. It takes years to master. Remy just masters it instantly. And I was like, what the heck? How do you do that? It is, I'm not sure. But this is supposed to be a concept of kid prodigies. And this makes sense for Remy. He is a master of playing a violin. He is great at in academics. He's great at fencing also. Great at playing the piano. He's just great at a lot of stuff. So it would make sense why he would be a good have a knack at knitting. Because like, and he also mentioned like I have a good dexterity with my gamer thumbs. And yes, it is. I'm not sure if this 100% scientific proven. I've been hearing some things on and off about scientists approve on kids playing educational video games because it helps them have good hand-eye coordination and stuff. Again, I'm not sure if this is 100% approved scientific evidence, but I've been hearing on and off in different like articles and stuff. Not articles that like with like titles that come to mind, but I'm thinking about a couple. So he just showing he even have a zoom in of his gamer thumbs in the veins and stuff. Ew, but it's fine. And he's like, oh, the Lego this be interesting. Hey, Remy, do you want me to take you under my wing? Because she even mentions it's a prophecy of a chosen one to come under my wing, and so I can teach him the ways of knitting. And then even Remy, the scarf he knitted has a little cat, and he's like, is like blowing in the wind. And he's like, oh, you're the chosen one. He's like, I am. He's like, yes, Remy, do you want to succeed? Do you want to do this with me? And she's like, he's like, yes, I do. So that's pretty cool B plot. I'm kind of wondering of how Alice came to this prophecy. I wonder who taught her? Like, what was it, like some sort of ancient like knitting master from like from the country? Did she meet this person in big city? Maybe but she didn't really get along with people in big cities. So maybe this wasn't back in the country. Who knows? But I kind of want to know like a backstory, a flashback of how did she come across this prophecy? Did she just read it in one of those like tabloid magazines? I hope not, because me personally, I don't like those magazines. So that'll be pretty crummy. That's how she figured it out, or maybe she just like knew it spiritually or something. Who knows? And so that's a B plot they're gonna do. Remy's gonna become a knitting master with Alice taking Remy under her wing, basically. And we get back to the A plot where Nancy's gonna find her third option to get rid of Cricket's rat tail, and basically her first option, she's like, "Hey Cricket, come on along for a ride," and basically, Cricket is in a sidecar, and Nancy's like, and Cricket's like, "Oh, Mom, where are you taking me? Our favorite town, our favorite shop in downtown Smelton." "Oh, where is it?" "The barber." He's like, "The barber?" Is it? "Yep." And he's like, "Oh, look at all these trendy hairstyles. And it makes you want to change your whole look, huh?" Nah. Like all those hairstyles are all look weird looking. Nothing's that sophisticated. My rat tail, yes, this is rat tail as a mustache. Is this foreshadowing Cricket getting a mustache? Maybe. What happens? Oh, right. And here's a barber just sweeping up a bunch of hair. Like, geez, clean up the hair. I guess he's doing that now. But it's like piling up. And he's like, "Oh, hey, how about ask a professional?" He's like, "Oh, great idea, Mom." He's like, "Hey, barber dude, you take out this." And he's like wiggling the rat tail. He's like, "Oh my!" And Nancy's like, "Yes, tell him you hate it." And he's like, "That's the most magnificent thing I ever seen." And she's like, "What?" It's like, and he's like calling the whole town. It's a small town, so there's like not that many people. He's like, "Everyone, come witness the boy's magnificent hair," and everyone is just loving like the rat tail and stuff. And there's like, "Oh, a barber, like, give me this rat tail, like, I'll make my hairstyle that hairstyle. I don't care what I have to pay. Like, just do it." And there's like, oh, and they're even like touching the rat tail, and they're getting like a little bit closer and closer. And Nancy's like, "I got to get you out of here." It's like, why did you do that, Mom? And he's like, "That mob was getting way too dangerous." He's like, "Wait, they were?" They were getting a little too close, I think, from like my comfort for the Cricket. Like, they were getting a little too close to him. I don't know. I kind of felt like a vibe. of like how people like corner celebrities and stuff and kind of not necessarily make it claustrophobic, but I was getting that vibe a little bit. So Nancy didn't really have the best intentions of getting Cricket out of there, but what she said of them getting too dangerous, if maybe Cricket would have stayed there longer, if they would have gotten even more closer than what I'm thinking right now, they might have gotten dangerous. Maybe again, I'm not trying to like suggest anything, but like audiences could turn into mobs. They won't always, but sometimes it would. So Nancy has the right idea, but she doesn't have the best intentions, kind of. Anyway, so they drive off. And we get back to the B plot with Alice is like training Remy. I like Remy's what would you call it? His like workout outfit. I love the black tank top with like the black and red shorts. I love it. Let's get that outfit more. Like seriously. And he's like, oh, like surprise beanie. He does it. He's like, oh, like you gotta do this like sweater. Oh, like he's like child's play. And he's like, oh, and he's like, do a scarf. Like whatever the first thing that comes to your mind, like do it. And then he just does it instantly. He's like, oh, he was even like where he was like doing weight lifts with steel wool. So like, oh, like you're lifting up steel. So that's pretty cool. And he's like, oh, an infinity scarf. Remember what I said? How she said, whatever type of scarf you want to do, first thing comes to mind. To him, it was infinity scarf, and even Alice was impressed. She's like, an infinity scarf? You're ready? And he's like, you ready, Remy? I'm born ready. And she's like, okay, you have to make a glove. He's like, a glove? Sure. And he's like, don't get cocky, Remy. Okay. I haven't been able to do it. He's like, what do you mean? This is a funny joke. I keep making a glove with 5 fingers. Because in the world of Big City Greens, you only have 4 fingers. So that's pretty funny. So, so like, yeah, keep doing it with 5 fingers is an impossible task. I wonder if I can look back on the gloves of Big City Greens and like during the winter episodes and count how many like how many fingers of the gloves that they were wearing. It's not a big deal if it was 4, but that would be pretty funny if I look back on it and it were actually 5-finger gloves, because no one can make a 4-finger glove, so they just had to wear a 5-finger glove, and they kept the continuity. I would be pretty impressed, but it's probably 4 fingers. I'm not gonna take a point if it's 1. I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate or not. Like if it's 4 fingers or 5 fingers in those previous episodes. I can't confirm or deny right now, so that's why I'm not taking a point off. That's 1. 2, I would be too much of a harsh critic to do that. So like I like the joke. I'm just gonna leave it like that. So if you guys were wondering, like I'm pretty sure there were 4 fingers. Like it's fine. Honestly, right now my mentality, it's fine. But basically he's like he's like he's like don't, he even says like, oh, I don't know, I'll do it. Like don't worry about it. And he's like, I gotta warn you. It's like all the toughest of nitties. That's pretty funny. Trying to do the 4-finger glove, the thread of their minds are unraveling, and she even like does it like pulling the string of the glove. So like you have to be careful. If you still want to do it, okay, like I'll give you like the needles and the cloth, because you gotta do this by yourself. He's like, I'm ready. Okay, we get back to the B plot. And then the A plot with Cricket and Nancy. So and he's like, oh, I gotta cut that rat tail, and we basically have sorry, Cricket and Nancy, and Nancy's looking at Cricket, and Cricket's watching the I'm not sure like the I forgot the name. It's basically the like. Don't you remember the America Rat and the Incredible Bulk? I don't remember their version of Iron Man, but basically it's Iron Man. He's trying to stop their version of Iron Man. He's trying to stop an asteroid, but like it's supposed to be like a commercial. There's like he's like, oh, there's 5 minutes before the bomb destroys that asteroid, and like it's gonna impact the Earth, and it's gonna probably kill everyone. And she's like, 5 minutes, that won't be enough to finish my refreshing yet delicious, what was it called? Splish. And he's like, oh, like, that's a horrible commercial. And he's like, no one's gonna fall for that in the right mind. And Cricket's like, Dad, don't we have any splish? And he's like, oh, my son falls for subliminal messaging, huh? And she's basically having like a bunch of rope, and she's like cutting it. And he's like, oh, like, hey, son, and oh, Remy wanted me to get this yarn rat now, and to cut tail this yarn for him. So, but I don't know where he went. I'm right here, so I'm here rat now to cut this yarn tail. So he's basically saying like cut the rat tail basically, and he's like, huh? He's looking at it. I said, oh my goodness, did this actually work? This is Nancy talking. This is me talking. I'm like, did this actually work? And Crick is like, oh, Nancy's like, it's something on your mind, son? And he's like, I gotta do something. I'll be right back. And then Nancy's like, I even like how Nancy's like, kind of like feeling bad about it. She's like, I successfully manipulated my son. He's like, that it doesn't sound so good. Like you know, when I say it out loud, yeah, Nancy, you kind of messed up. But I'm gonna see like if there'll be consequences or not. And lo and behold, there are consequences. So that's why I'm not gonna take a point out for Nancy. There are consequences. And you know, basically Nancy's just relaxing, nice little sunset. I love it. I love the lighting of the sunset. I love it. And then he's like, oh hey son, like, oh hey mom, I think I got something from your what you were trying to say, like when you were cutting yarn and stuff. He's like, oh you did? And he's like, yeah, that rat tail, I didn't want to admit it, but it wasn't for me. He's like, oh well, yeah, it's good that you figured it out. Like, even that kind of gave you a little nudge. It's good that you figured it out mostly on your own. And he's like, that rat tail, it wasn't me. But this one is, he has a long one that's been lengthened by Remy. Like, so it's different colors. And it has a tail at the end. The tail. Of course the tail. It has a bell at the end. He's like, what do you think, Mom? Long. Oh, you bet your butt it is. And he's like, oh yeah, Remy lengthened it. Isn't it cool? And he's like, oh, it can even use for jump rope. And he's like, until he's like, did you say jump rope? And they do like a little one of those rhymes they do for jumping rope, and then Nancy's just looking at pure disgust. And she's like, it's rat tail on a rat, with all clothes but with no hat. I think that was like the rhyme they were doing. And then and you know they're ringing the bell, and then Nancy's like, oh, what am I supposed to do? And we hear Nancy's dad's voice, and he's like, there's nothing you can do, Nancy. What? There's nothing you can do. And at the end with like the bell, where you see like a part of Cricket's original haircut, like the brown, it turns into the head of Nancy's dad. I thought it was pretty cool. It's like, tell his rat tail stinks. Tell it sucks. And she's like, no, you could be just like me. Like, no. And she's flipping over the table. She's like running away. And then Cricket's like, she must hate bells. I mean, the bell is a little bit annoying, but like, she must hate it. Basically, we get back to the B plot. And I was like, oh, hey, Remy, how's it going? I want to check on you, champ. And then Remy is in utter despair. And like, you see a bunch of 4-finger gloves, some 3-fingered, like it's just all messed up out the wazoo. He's like, I can't do it. He's like, I'm losing control. And then and Alice is like, oh, I shouldn't put you. I'm so sorry, Remy. I shouldn't put you under this pressure. And Remy's like, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Green. I couldn't do it. I failed you. And he's like, don't worry, Remy. It's just too hard. I thought you were the one, but it's fine. Like, I'm glad she doesn't blame him, and that was nice. I thought you were the one, though, and Remy's figured it out. It's one. Miss Serena, I figured it out. Like, what you talking about? And he starts knitting. I like how Alice is kind of picking up the yarn and stuff, and she feels like, what? And you can see that the yarn kind of going into like the needles when he starts doing it, and this becomes bigger. The yarn gets like a little bit smaller because the string is going with where the needles are going. I thought it was pretty cool. Where she's like, wait, what the heck? And I like how Remy's like, I figured out, Mrs. Green. Like the reason why everyone failed is because they always figured out doing multiple fingers at once. Like they were so anxious to be like the first one to do it, but they be the first one to do a perfect 4-finger glove. They miss the whole point of the reason of knitting, and that's the sacred art, and it's about patience, and that's why we had to start with one. It's about one finger, starting with one thread, and even Remy's like, "I see, Mrs. Green." He sees all like the yarn and stuff. It's like full, like, like knitting together and stuff, all woven in one beautiful glove. And before he knows it, he did the perfect 4-finger glove. I actually love that, like kind of showing about how knitting isn't boring, isn't just for grandmas, even though grandma is doing it, but it's about patience, it's about a sacred art, and it can be used good for meditating, and also be good at showing that something of a person thinking that they can do everything. You can actually show knitting to that person, saying, "Can you do this?" And because this person's so boastful, and knitting like takes a lot of patience, and you have to be very calm to do it, because you can be messing up a few times. Because Remy's a knack at it. He's just like a natural whiz at it. But some people might hurt themselves with the knitting needles and stuff, and mess up a bunch of times. So, like, that'd be a pretty cool experiment. They saying like, "Hey, can you do this?" And the person would just get frustrated. That'd be pretty funny. But it'd be a good lesson. So that's a pretty cool lesson of knitting. Isn't just for grandmas. Isn't just for old people. It can be about patience and understanding. And it's a sacred art. I love that. That doesn't mean I'm going to try knitting, but it's a good lesson for people. And he does it, and he's like, "Oh, Remy, you did it. This is yours. The prophecy told for me to take someone under my wing and to give these the golden needles." He's like, "Oh, my leash," and he's like, "It's yours. Congratulations!" And she's like, "Hooray!" And he accidentally throws the needles on top of the ceiling, and he's like, "Oh, well, shoot, we gotta get those down." And then Remy's like, "Oh, hey, Cricket, we need your rat tail," and he's like, "Coming," and we hear the bell. And we get back to the A plot. Nancy, she's running in the rain. She's trying to run away from the rat tail, but she's kind of seeing everywhere. And she's like, "What am I supposed to do?" She's looking at a reflection in the puddle, and her face turns into her dad's face. And she's like, "You gotta criticize him," to Nancy. He's like, "Dad, what are you doing here?" "I'm here to tell you gotta criticize him. Be like me. Tell him it stinks. Tell him he looks like a moron. Be like me." He's like, "No, I'm nothing like you." "Oh, come on, Nancy." And then she just like stops in the puddle. And I love how closer the rain gets to her hair. You can see it's getting all messed up and stuff. I love the effects. It's really cool. And Nancy's like, "What am I supposed to do? I can't live with this thing forever." Oh, even Nancy's dad in the puddle said it's only gonna get worse. What he's kind of saying is kind of true. Yeah, it is getting a little more longer and stuff. So for Nancy's eyes, it's getting worse. And he's like, "Oh, I need to destroy this thing once and for all." And it's basically nighttime. And Nancy's getting the scissors. He's like, "Oh, one last thing, you disgusting piece of trash." And then she's like, before a snip, and she's about to snip it, but the bell goes on the floor and is awake, alerting Cricket. He's like, "Oh, my new rat tail." And he's like, and the scissors hurt Nancy, and she's like, "Ow!" And he's like, "Mom?" He's like, "Ah!" And he's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Is it scissors?" "Mom, were you planning on cutting my rat tail?" And she tries to deny, like, "No." And then he's like, "Cricket, I see the scissors, and you were hurt. I know you were holding it. Admit it." And she just spills the beans of everything. She's like, "Okay, Cricket, I hate it. It's the most horrible, disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life." And then even Cricket's like, "Ouch." Like, first of all, ouch. Second of all, why weren't you just honest with me when I asked you about it? I asked you twice. How come you weren't honest with me? Why didn't you say you didn't like it?" And Nancy, "I'm sorry, Cricket." I like how when she sat down in the hammock, because she's a much bigger person than Cricket, when he sat down, the hammock went down, and then the rat tail just boop, boop, and you hear the bell hit the floor. That's pretty funny. And he's like, "I just didn't want to be one of those overbearing parents who over criticize like how my dad was to me, and I didn't want to dislike you. I didn't want you to dislike me how I dislike my dad." And he's like, "You should have just told me, Mom. You just saying your opinion isn't gonna make me think less of you as an awesome mom." And he even mentions something. I actually thought this would be pretty good, where he said, "Dad disapproves of me all the time, but I still like him," which it is like a constant thing where Bill wishes Cricket would be like a more obedient kid. So he does a lot of rambunctious things which like Bill would disapprove of. But Cricket does this little wink, so I'm kind of like thinking, what was that for? Saying that, was a wink to say that Bill actually that Cricket actually doesn't like his dad, or it was a wink for of saying that Bill doesn't criticize everything? Because I was wondering, why did he wink there? Why doesn't he just say that, oh, your dad always criticizes me, but I still like him, like he's still a good parent? Like, why do you have to wink? I'm always confused when people wink. I'm like, is that supposed to be like an untruth thing? When you say, I like this person, and you give like a wink, does that mean they're lying? But like in other episodes in different shows, it shows that continuity doesn't match. So I'm like, does winking mean lying or being dishonest anymore? Or people kind of turn that around? Because it was unnecessary for Cricket to wink there. I might be overthinking it like I always do. But I don't know. That felt a little bit weird. But anyway, Cricket and Nancy give a hug, and Remy's awake, and he's like knitting a little like handkerchief for him. He'd say, well done, like a mother and son like reuniting and stuff. It's beautiful. Okay. But Remy's into drama and stuff. Even Cricket's like, oh, like, you know what? I was getting tired of this thing anyway. Like a kid, like, you just get out of things quick. He gets scissors, he cuts it, it have a new look, the mullet. Oh my goodness, it looks the most ridiculous thing ever. And then Nancy's like, Cricket, I hate it. And then Cricket's like, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So he was kind of like testing his mom to see if she would be honest or not, because he even agrees that mullets are bad. So this must be, but I'm like, why would Cricket have this in the first place? This must be Tilly's, because Tilly likes like to dress up and stuff. So this is hers. Excuse me, sorry. So yeah, so that was my review of Rat Tail, the second half of Big City Greens season 3, episode 13. So let's see. What's my final score? Let's see. Hmm. So this is sorry, I'm thinking like the pros and cons of the episode. Mm. 85. This is an 85% B plus, just like the first half. They're both great halves. So overall, Big City Greens season 3, episode 13, B plus, 85%. I think this is a great way to come back into Big City Greens. I'm glad this wasn't just like an overall okay episode, or one half was really great and another half was just like okay. I'm really glad that both halves were both 85%. It would have been cool if it would have been a little bit higher, but like, you know, it is what it is. But it was so great. I had a great time. So yeah, so yeah, that was my review of, you know, Rat Tail. And it comes to what do you think of Cricket's Rat Tail? Do you think it should have kept it longer? Do you think it should have shown it growing it out over time so it can show like the Rat Tail kind of being made? Or am I the only one? I might be the only one. It's fine. So once again, thank you so much to my 178th subscriber. I really appreciate you coming by the channel and subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much to my new subscribers, my original subscribers, my current subscribers just come on and off the channel just to check the channel out. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate my new viewers, my current viewers, my my original viewers, viewers just come on and off the channel just to check it out and share it to their friends, so they can check it out. I really, really appreciate you guys, all of you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah. So yeah, that's it. So either later today or tomorrow would be Big City Greens season 3 episode 14. First half is called Philly Tilly. Second half is called Montage, and I believe Philly Tilly is the one that has a clip and Montage doesn't. I had to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that that's how it is. Okay, so see you guys either later today or tomorrow for that. All right. Bye.